So in the last video, we were talking about the different contact methods. We spoke about telephone, personal contacts. We spoke about mail and other stuff. Now let us look at what are the research instruments. How do we actually go ahead and do the interview? The first one, of course, is questionnaire. Questionnaire, you have two kind of questionnaires. One is a structured questionnaire, the other is a unstructured questionnaire. When you're talking about quantitative studies where you want information which can be extrapolated, we have to use a structured questionnaire. On the other hand, when it is an in-depth study, maybe a qualitative type of study, many a time you use an unstructured questionnaire. And in the case of focus group discussions, you have actually GD guidelines rather than a questionnaire itself. So in the questionnaire, we have to decide what to ask and how the form of each question will be. Whether it will be an open-ended question, close-ended question, multiple choice question, yes or no question. Are you going to use a Likert scale? Excellent to very bad, or completely agree to completely disagree? What kind of questions you are going to ask? How will be the wording of the question? Wording is very important because the small difference in wording will give you entirely different answers. And what will be the ordering of the questions? Because there has to be a clear order. So in fact, what we do is we actually create a flow chart for the question so that you don't misorganize your questionnaire as such. So these are some of the things that you have to look at. What to ask, form of each question, wording, and ordering. So these are all, if you look at it, are all ordinary pen to paper methods that you're having. Of course, you can ask these questions through Gmail also, or some other mails also, but you have also mechanical devices. So research instruments need not be actually questionnaires. You can have different kinds of mechanical devices. One of the mechanical devices is a people meter. People meter are those things which you put inside a TV. For example, you want to check out the viewership of any TV channels and maybe a program within the TV channel, so that you can decide which program to give your advertisement. You have to have some information. What is the kind of readership you have? And the method of collecting this readership is through using people meters. So what companies like AC Nielsen and IMRB do, they have things like TAM and INTAM, that is TV audience measure. What they do in this TAM and INTAM studies are actually they will put these people meters into a number of TVs of different people across the country, maybe 10 or 20 in each town that you have decided, and totally you are talking about thousands of people meters which are placed in TV channels. And whenever the guy viewer switches on the TV, immediately it will start recording, so that you will know when the TV was switched on, when it was switched off, which are the channels that he has gone through, and in those channels which are the TV programs he has actually seen. So you can find out whether your particular TV ad that has been released in that particular program has been seen or not. So you can also find out what is the viewership of each channel when you collate all this information across the country. So this is what a pupillometer is. Then you have something called pupillometer. Pupillometer is different. What you do is, for example, you have a advertisement. You can actually check out whether people like the advertisement by watching the pupils of the eyes. So you record the pupil of the eyes as they watch the TV ad, and then you will realize that the pupil is dilating or expanding. Based on that, you can decide whether he or she like the ad or not. Then there's something called grocery scanners. This is used for retail audit. I was speaking about retail audits earlier, where you have syndicated studies done by AC Nielsen and ORG and all those people, where they actually go to all these retail outlets across the country, have a tie up with them, and they get information every month as to which are all the products that have been sold, what is the brand that have been sold, the figures that you get. And this is done through your grocery scanners. These are actual scanners that they use for coding the data and getting the prices and billing as such. Then you have something called psychogalvanometer, which is something that is checks out the reaction of the body to the advertisement. So based on that, you can decide whether they like the ad or not. There's something called tachydoscope. Tachydoscope is an old type film slide type of thing, which can be used for cross checking the speed. how it affects the perception. So things like people meter, pupillometer, grocery scanner, galvanometer, and tachydoscope are mechanical devices. You can even use ECG, where the brain can be mapped to find out whether people like an ad or not. Because you have once you see something which you like or dislike, there are feelings that are evolved, and these feelings will be read through these devices. So these are some of the, you have something called pre-testing and post-testing and advertising, and these are things that are used there. So you can have a questionnaire method, you can have mechanical devices for collection of data. So we are talking about the collection of primary data. Now let us look at how we develop a sampling plan. So what is, first of all, we have to decide who is to be surveyed, what is your target audience, your ABC and all those stuff. And once you know who is to be surveyed, you have to find out who is the population, how many is the population. So the numbers that if you can get the population numbers, then you from that you can decide how many to be surveyed. It may not be possible for you to have a census survey, so you can go for sampling. And when we go for sampling, you have to ensure that it is representative of the sample. And if you want to ensure that it is representative of the sample, you should have a fair number of people who are to be surveyed. And this can be found out using statistical methods if you know how what is your target audience and what is the population numbers. If you know the population numbers based on the confidence limits and what are the levels at which you want to have this thing, the accuracy of the this thing, then you can do that. And especially if you're planning to have a study where you are extrapolating the data, where you are finding out what is the forecast of this thing, then you have to do all this because without the representative sampling, you will not get accurate figures. So next is how should be the sample chosen, and there are different methods again for deciding on the sampling samples. You have, the best is of course random sampling, which is a probability sampling where everybody has an equal chance of being represented. So random sampling is the best method where it is people are decided randomly as in using things like a lottery method. You have the list, especially if you have the what you call the sample list of the samples. If you have the list of samples, then the total population, if you have the list of total population, this can be very easily done. If the list is not there, that is when you have a problem, because you don't know who all are there, so you have to look at other options. So this is one is this one is called simple random sampling, where you use give everybody equal chance through methods like lottery method. Then you have stratified sampling, the systematic random sampling, different types of random sampling itself is there. And almost all of these are give you a fair representation of samples, and this can be used for extrapolating data. So if you, somebody says there are 10,000, if you get an information that 10,000 people out of the 80,000 people interviewed, 10,000 are positive, then you can extrapolate it to 8 crores by multiplying it. So that is what the whole point is. Then, if you're looking at the things like consumer satisfaction studies we saw earlier, this changes according to time. So every other year, you have to do customer satisfaction surveys to find out how people perceive you. The perception studies and all are have to be done frequently, and they are not used for extrapolating data. So it is essentially to get an idea so that you can take a decision which is informed rather than guesswork. So you were checking out mainly as a descriptive study, so that you can use ordinary non-random non-probability sampling methods like convenience sampling, judgmental sampling, and all those, where the representation of sample may not be that great, but that is enough. This accuracy for those kind of studies, that is enough. So you can do for small studies, like customer satisfaction surveys, or even customer perception surveys. These may not be possible. So you have random sampling in there. You have simple random sampling, systematic random sampling, and you have convenience sampling, judgmental sampling, and other kinds of sampling. So again, the question is probability or non-probability sampling. So you need a probability sampling, especially if you are looking at getting information that has to be extrapolated, non-probability or convenience and those kind of stuff. If it is not.